Hi, Internet. I'm back. Now, let's see what we have for us. So, for those of you who are unaware, this, of course, will be the patch notes for 1.5.17b. Now, I haven't been playing an awful lot, but you guys seem to like it when I make videos about this stuff, and I'm happy to go through it. I am, just to reiterate, I am not a developer. I am not associated with the development of London 2038. I am not a shady or any other sort of form of beta tester, other than the kind of tester that we all are on the server. But we are going to go over a few changes for the upcoming patch, which has deployed today. Now, unusually, I wouldn't normally be recording this right now, but I've just come back from performing at a show. Sorry, I have just come back from a professional wrestling show that I definitely wasn't on. I'm a little bit sore. I'm a little bit tired. It's currently 11:30 at night. There's a little bit after hours for me as well, kind of like the last time I did this. So let's have a wee look here. Item fixes and changes. The backpack will now feature hover text that explains its function. That's good. Literally nothing bad. I'm surprised that hasn't already been done. That's like no shade on anyone. I'm actually just surprised it wasn't in the game already. Drop rates of Vanya's Bolting Anger, Wolverine, and Clinton's Catharsis have adjusted to traditional drop rates. That's good. I think from my understanding of how the drop rates have been up until fairly recently, yeah, that makes sense. Drop rates of unique items exclusive to St. Paul's Hellgate have been increased in line with player feedback. Good. Now, I'm going to name someone, and I'm sorry, but I remember many moons ago when I used to stream this game. I remember I was on call with Daybreaker, and I remember it being said, "I really wish I had a reason to go and farm there," and now you do. If you haven't already been farming there, this is a great thing to do. Botmaster may now drop with an additional ammo slot. Good. No notes. Good. Edge of Fate will now no longer erroneously drop with a base item type can, e.g. the minigame. I mean, the problem is, right, whenever you're talking about balance of drop rates, the drop rates are already pretty jank. Like, there's very few things that have like a consistently high drop rate that's not in some way not behaving the way it should do. So if it was dropping from the minigame, I wouldn't have found a problem with it, but if they don't want it there, that's fine. XM108 Trident launchers will now only drop up to level 30. From 30 onwards, a new Mark II variant of this weapon, named the XM109 Lester launcher, will start dropping instead. The unique Shiva Trisula will now have a unique version of the latter. That's fine. I love those Trident launchers. I actually really like them. I think that these Trident launchers are extremely fun. Um, it complete side note. What it reminds me of is there was a game called Oni, from the early 2000s. I'll need to do it on this channel at some point. And they've got a weapon which is kind of like the same thing. It's like a shotgun of rockets. Weirdly, at like mid range, it's like short range, it's terrible. Like practically darts around them, but at like medium to long range, you just like hit people square in the face. Explorer's Notice is now properly tradable. Okay, ancient Australian blueprints will now be tradable. Not. I wonder why. Like, I'm guessing it's for parties or whatever, but or like people helping each other. That's kind of cool. The PDA item list during Deadpool quest initiates the proper notice quest has been renamed to Sept PDA for differentiating clarity. Good. No notes. The following quest items can no longer be discarded to prevent accidents that block that quest completion. The Narrow Way Scroll, Message from Sir Singh, Message from Claire, and Sept PDA. More quest items will follow this approach with issues that are reported. Good. No notes. This is great. This is actually what you want. These are things that have been in the game that have been bugged for years and are being fixed. It's great. Watcher's Will and Convulsor will now have a far smaller variance in their possible slots at 5 to 8 over 2 to 8 and 0 to 8. Yeah, this aligns with traditional slot variants of the weapon type. Good. Yeah, Watcher's Will, good sniper rifle. If it's the one I'm thinking of. Good. I like this. The thing is, right, I've said this for years. The one problem with games like this is that ultimately it's a slot machine. And as somebody who has traditionally not had very good luck, a slot machine to me is pull the handle and lose. It's not pull the handle and win. So this coming out with some better variation for slots, good. XM18 XM17 sim rays and XM18 death rays no longer stop dropping after a specific level, thus becoming inaccessible to level 50, and the He Who Hunts variant will now drop from level 30 onwards. Good. If they can ever fix the problem with death rays not critting, please let me know. Because at current, there are only two weapons in the game that can use the sniper skill. The traditional Poseidon style sniper, which you'll see like the teachers, which by the way, Holy shit, is that busted? Best sniper rifle in the game. I have no notes. Anyway, alright, so you've got like the traditional sort of Poseidon ones, you've got the death ray type ones. And I remember discussing this years ago that death rays have an issue not critting. If that has been fixed, put it in big bold notes for me, please. If it hasn't been fixed, it should actually we should be honest with the community. But at least if I was involved with it, I'm not. I am not. I am not. I am not in any way associated with them. Hand on my heart, honesty. This is all getting sent to Brian first because I don't release stuff without giving fair warning. But if they fix the thing with death rays, that will suddenly make them a lot better. Because I like the whole death ray thing. It's a delayed explosion. In theory, it should crit. If it's not done yet, then maybe hold off on it, or put it on something like a bot. I don't know. I don't play engineer very often. Mostly when I did play engineer, I decided to be a complete lunatic and run around with a chains blade. So give me the chainsaw, guys. Just give me the chainsaw and the double barrel. You know I want the double barrel. Sod it. Just take the sprite from Doom. I'll be happy with that. Viper guns now described as homing pistols. Good. The necromantic talisman awarded by Rick on arrival at the Hellborn station will no longer be usable before level 50. Much better. Much better. Like, no negative. Glad that it's in the game. But yeah, I reckon there's probably quite a few people who didn't know what they were doing, activated that, and suddenly fucked themselves over. Baldur's Ring will feature green line that outlines its hidden power degeneration. Good. Good. Items that previously dropped exclusively from Paul's Hellgate area and items exclusively dropped from the Paul's areas such as Churchyard, Paternoster, Cheapside, and Little Britain now drop in all 5 areas. Good. As I said, it's a slot machine. For at least the way I look at it, it's a slot machine. Hang on, let me just zoom down here. Yeah, it's a slot machine, so you're gonna have that problem where the more times you get to pull it, the more likely you are to get the things you want. And then that's not even talking about like roll variations. Level ranges of all regular Templar 200 guns were adjusted to not leave level range gaps, but reduce, but not eliminate reroll recipe outcome errors. Specifically, Crusader Lashers now drop between levels 1 and 31, Crusader Lances at 30 to 50. Inquisitors now drop between 8 and 31, Holy Inquisitors drop between 30 and 50. Threat nullification devices now drop between 11 and 31. Threat elimination devices now drop between 30 and 50. The last pass measures against successive drop rates of these items remain in place, and the drop rates have been reduced further to account for a wider range level. In total, these changes should have minimal effects on gameplay. Okay, this is really good news, right? I've put out, this will be my 3rd video, I believe, for specifically patch notes in recent times. And I've talked about this before. The drop rates for these were too high. If they are bringing it down, that's good. That is really good. It means that people don't get a whole bunch of these items. Because the other thing as well, when an item doesn't drop, it's worth a lot of money. When an item drops all the time, it's basically worthless. And by doing this, they have made these items more useful by virtue of their rarity. The problem is that you've got people with a lot of the older ones. I'm sorry if I sound a bit wheezy. I actually just got kicked in the chest repeatedly. It was extremely painful. So, skill changes. Here we go. Skill changes that are minions or only produce minions now belong to the explanatory skill group minion. To better explain that they are affected by plus minion stats, this includes all elementals, all demon summonings, Dark Lord zombies, all bot summoning skills, construct drones, summon ember, wallowbone, spectral serpents. No new affixes that affect the spell group have introduced at this time, as the classification primarily extends to communicate that minion stats affixes in these skills. So it's a clarification. It's not actually like, yeah, because I remember running my summoner with super heavy stuff on that, and it was mostly on the Dark Lord stuff. I will say for whoever sorted this out, you should have put in Dark Lord summons, but like that's me being nitpicky, and I'm not being a dick today. Firestorm's rate of fire was increased by 100%. Its base power damage costs were reduced by 50. These changes prevent buggy interactions with rate use boosters without impacting the skill's performance. Good. The bug fix that also appears to be a buff. Oh no, it works out exactly the same because its base damage and power cost were reduced by 50%, but its rate of fire is increased to 100. Yeah, that's fine. If it's to fix a bug and it has the exact same rate, it's fine. Good. It means it's going to be more of a machine gun. Firestorm's the little one, I believe, so it's going to be much more like a machine gun. I would like to know what the status chance on that is, like if there's a decent SFX chance on it, because in theory, what you could do is then use Firestorm as a primer, like just fucking blast them with a lot of fire damage. Special Cluster's damage radius was decreased from two. Oh, it was decreased to 2 meters from 5 meters, and its base damage reduced by 90%. What? This little change should prevent occurrences of excessive overlapping damages, but leaving the skill viable. My God, you reduced its damage by 90%. If it did 100 damage before, it now does 10. 90% reduction. 90% reduction. Holy shit, guys. There are nerfs and there are nerfs. This is prevent excessive overlapping damage while still leaving the skill viable. You take any skill in the game, reduce it by 90%. Like, I trust you guys, but fuck me, that's a scary number to see. If that's a typo, that's a fucking scary typo. Because you've taken a skill which had a 5 meter radius, which is not that big, reduced it to 2 meters, which is basically melee. In fact, it is melee. If you're in melee with something, you're at least 1 meter apart. So you're talking like 2 meters is like decent range on a sword. You're talking you've gone from almost melee to actually melee, and its base damage is reduced by 90%. So unless you're running like a shit ton of what is it, the spiritual effects, that's gonna be a lot lower. And I the only thing I would say is, like, your balance is your balance. I am just a player. I am just commenting because I'm reacting. 90% really is spectral damage buffs that much of a problem? And if it is, why did it get that way? Jesus Christ. Camouflage escape now have a shared cooldown of 15 seconds. In turn, camouflage will always have a 15-second cooldown, which is not affected by any fixes or other cooldown reductions. To avoid confusion, camouflage will no longer display a cooldown field and instead read that its cooldown is always 15 seconds. That's grim. That's grim. As an avowed sniper, that's grim. Because the thing is that they already shared a cooldown. They already shared a cooldown. The fact that it's now a shared cooldown of 15 seconds and camouflage will always have 15 seconds, which means use rate is no longer really that viable for certain camouflage skills or for certain sniper builds. Because realistically, sniper doesn't have a real cooldown. It's got like 2 seconds or some shit like that. It's basically not a factor for a sniper player. Camouflage is what you use to break the AI and break line of sight so that they stop moving with you, and then you break that to gain a big damage boost, especially useful if you're running teachers, good teachers, because yes, by the way, that quest is still bugged for me. It's still producing the old style teachers. When I go to that quest, I can't fix it. I've been this close to deleting a character. It's meh. Um, I think I don't know why they've done this. Do you know what it feels like? It feels like I've said before with certain things, it feels like someone found a bug, and rather than deal with it, they've just decided to fuck with it. Now, I might be wrong. I probably am, but that's my go-to reaction here. It's a bit sad as well because with the use rate now being useless for those skills, if you're, for camouflage specifically, it means that there's not really a point in running a lot of use rate on a sniper build, which in some ways is good because it means that you can rely a lot more on your just straight auto attacks, especially if you're running teachers. I will put that weapon over as being fantastic because 3 different types of damage before you even start modding it. Okay, okay. Plus, it's got a field. Like, who doesn't want that? Anyway, level and misfix changes. Here we go. The Nova damage formula has been adjusted to revert the performance to its original levels. The formula scale to user level. In effect, this means that all Nova damage sources will deal the same amount of damage in the hands of players with the same level. Enemy charged bolt Novas will be subject to a different formula but still prevent early game overperformance. Mortifying will also retain its intended damage bonus compared to other Novas. This change preserves the functionality of armor Novas. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. That definitely sounds like they're fixing something. That's good. Level scaling issues with the Dawn of the Dead and other maps have been addressed. No extra context for this one. Absolutely no extra context. Just fuck you. Don't know what it was. Normal difficulties of Necropolis maps no longer feature ghoul lords, and their zombies summoners with the density has been reduced. A nerf to zombie summoners when Siona's still on the team. My God, we have entered the end times. Achievement for killing the gatekeepers under 10 has been fixed. Fix the possibility with butchers and drop rates of John's Wit and John's Reservation has been fixed. Possible issue where mythic weapon recipe would erroneously produce a unique weapon has been fixed. Again, this is sound good. Completing or abandoning Big Sister's song story quest will now remove the cleanser item from the player's inventory to avoid confusion with the nightmare version of the quest line. This is not affected by. That's good. That's good. Getting rid of the early game cleanser is good. I still stand by that there should be a way to get rid of the other cleanser after you've completed the oh no, you got a daily in there as well. Shit. I think you got a daily in there. Anyway, I don't like the cleanser. I feel like there should be some way for us to get rid of it or for it to stop fucking doing being there because it means that every time you go in to it's not Templar base, the Temple Station. Anyway, whenever you go into the station, first thing is if you don't have it in your inventory, she will try to give you it, and you can't get rid of it. It's fucking crap. It's useful for what it's used for, which is a specific story-based event, but outside of that, it just takes up space, which means that permanently you have 6 slots in either a bag or your main inventory in your storage you can't use. I don't like that, but is what it is. Um, all the quests of Modder, Coder, Tester, and Explorer in Stonehenge will now not award XP. This change intends to make Tier 1 farming in Australia easier. This is good. Australia's not to give you meant to give you XP. And I stand by what I've said before. I think there's a lot of people who make a lot of hoo-ha about Australia. I think it's fine. I think it was fine before. I think it's fine now. Good that it doesn't give XP, but I wish there was a way to make it give XP. Like, if there was a way to, like, talk to an NPC and you could turn it on, that would be cool. But if that's not what they want to do, then that's fine. And again, making tier 1 farming in Australia easier. There's stuff that's specific there that's quite useful. So that's good. Again, they still have this problem where, and I think Brian's talked about this before. Forgive me for putting words in your mouth, but I believe they've talked about it before because they intended for people to just get there early and then just farm. The problem is that's not what's happening a lot of the times because a lot of times people don't even touch it until they hit Nightmare. I mean, you run into the problem that if this was a Valve game, Valve would put a big fucking sign saying "Stop looking at other things, go to Stonehenge." But that's not the way that the guys have designed it, and I think this is one of these ones where I can't fix it. I can't give you a suggestion. Not anything that makes sense to me anyway. Not with something that would take way too much time to do. Last question, tutorial quest line. The end is the end is the beginning is the end. Will now reward a fateful attribute retrainer. Good, good. You get a skill retrainer from the quest beforehand, and the end is the beginning is the end gives you a fateful skill retrainer. Good for attribute retrainer. That's good. I think a lot of people have figured out that resetting your stats after you know what the fuck you're doing is actually quite useful. Also, it means people don't go to Stonehenge to farm the bosses, to farm Moloch. And the less grinding you have to do to get where you need to go, the better it is for you as a player, as far as I look at it. From a developer side of things, you're going to burn through the content anyway. And I think we're still, like, because of the changes that were made and the way that leveling works, we are still waiting for that closed station patch. Guys, whenever you're ready, I'd love to see it. I know you're working on it hard. I'm really hoping it works out well for you. No fucking patch reverts, no none of that nonsense. But this was a good short patch. I'm really glad to say that there is literally. I don't think I've said anything negative in this entire video. Apart from that 90% nerf, like Jesus Christ, lads, was it really that needed? Spectral Curse. Oof, oof. As a side note, if this is the only thing that I even think is remotely negative, here's my problem. If this skill, in your words, should leave the skill viable and you have reduced its damage by 90%, either that skill was overtuned or the buffs that people are given to it are way too high. Now, you and I, whoever is watching this, you and I who have been watching or been playing for any length of time will remember that back in the day, spiritualism and naturalism got ridiculous damage boosts. And much like what the Yeos is doing, the legacy Yeos, it could well be that that's affecting this. Now, I don't know if there's a damage bug that could cause issues or whatever, but going from 5 meters to 2 meters, that is an over 50% nerf and a base damage reduction of 90% is a big nerf. If you want to leave the skill viable, but you have to reduce its damage by 90%, you have a problem. I don't know how you're going to fix it, and I can't see the data that you're working with, but that's scary. Everything else is fine. Like I think the Firestorm rate increase is fine because it's not actually it's buggy interactions is what you're fixing, and it has the exact same damage output. That's fine. I'm saddened about the camouflage. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, oh, it's perfectly fine. No, I liked having use rate on it because it broke AI, it broke line of sight, and it got you safe. I liked it. But if they probably do have a reason for it, they're not just doing it to fuck with me. At least I fucking hope not. Don't balance your game around me. That's a really stupid idea if that's the case. But honestly, I think this is a pretty good patch. There's nothing in it that's really negative apart from the one thing I've mentioned. Everything else seems to be for the betterment or to fix, making things clearer, which I've said every time there's an item fix or change, it should be clarification, skill clarifications. Everything should be crystal clear. This game is very old now. It should be as clear as day exactly what everything does and how it works. If you have something that is not clear, please, 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 please fix it. On the other side of things, skill changes. I know we're still waiting for this close station patch, which I think will be the thing because I know they're balancing around that. I think that's what they've already got that patch in their mind when they're balancing the stuff for this, as far as I'm aware, and that's good. That's good. Do you know what that shows to me? They're thinking ahead. They're not just thinking, oh, to the next patch. They're going, here's this thing we're going to do, and here's how we're going to get there. And that's a good sign. That's a really fucking good sign. So I can only say this is an extremely positive review. I hope everybody enjoys what's been going on. If you find a legacy EOS, either keep it or burn it because they're going to be a fucking problem forever. But seriously, thank you very much for the developers of this game. If you would like to support them, I guess get on their Discord for the London 2038 Discord and do what you can to help them. In all seriousness, they put in a lot of work and a lot of hard effort, and there's not a huge amount of them doing it because it's a very, very difficult game to program in. It's got a dodgy engine and all sorts of stuff. So if there is anything you think you can do to help out, please reach out to them, show them what you can do, and help them as best you can. Beyond that, though, if you'd like to support the channel, give us a wee subscribe. You can, of course, see the links to my coffee and Patreon on screen. I've got other content that I produce. But yeah, this was my notes for patch 1.5.17b. And my god, it was pretty okay. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day.